Okay, welcome everyone to tonight's show of Synergy, which is my holistic health program, recovery, discovery, and basically anything I find interesting. We use, we go into a lot of different areas of discussion here on healing. And tonight we have a very special guest. We have Carrie Kaplan, and she's coming at
My God.
us from Los Angeles, California tonight, which is great. So thank you so much for being here, Carrie.
Yeah, thanks for asking me. This should be interesting.
And before the air, we were starting to discuss political correctness and so forth, and how triggered everyone is nowadays over any little thing and taking things out of context and so on, so that you almost like have to be able to regulate everything that comes out of your mouth, which I am not good at all. Uh,
Thank good. Keep up the good work.
yeah, I don't want to be because,
Hmm.
you can't get any humor, you
Oh
know?
my God.
You
You are
can't,
hitting on everything right now.
you
Yeah, keep
can't
going.
there's no humor without being able to laugh at these differences about ourselves and so forth. And people, comics lately have had to defend themselves constantly from what they said, and it's like, made a joke. It's a joke. I'm kidding around about it, after they get done with a little bit of their skit. And I don't know. I think that compromises our authenticity. I realize in
Yeah.
professional engagements and so forth, we have to, you'll get a little bit of an altered version of Paul. Maybe I'll tone down my curse words
Hmm.
and so on and
Yeah.
so forth for professionalism, but you don't ever get two Pauls anymore. Carl Jung called that individuated. Maslow called that self-actualized. What do you think about all this current state of political correctness?
Yeah, you literally hit on so many things I think about often, and especially the comedian arena today. Number one, like going to see shows in LA when I moved here was my new like going to see music. And yeah, it's totally exciting to see them in an intimate setting, spouting off things, playing off the crowd, chewing on things. And that's the part of creation, you know, that allows us to um, grow and evolve. And if you can't say things without constantly editing, if you can't create without editing, you're not creating anything. We're not going anywhere. So yeah, all of that is a part that's going on. But I yeah, I don't focus on it. I don't want to. I think laughing, going to those shows, enjoying some levity, like lighten up. Everything is nuanced. Everything's in context. You could take anything out of context and make it sound terrible. Actually, synchronistically, yesterday I was watching a Lars von Trier YouTube interview from 2013,
Mhm.
when he's sitting there and he has such a dry sense of humor. It was for Melancholia or what, I'm not sure how to say that. And Kirsten Dunst was sitting next to him, and the Scars Guards, and he was joking about, yeah, I thought I was a Jew, and then I found out I was a Nazi, and I could, and I get where Hitler's coming from, and they're all squirming and like it's fun. You could tell, and he's getting more uncomfortable. He's trying to say like a deadpan joke, and it's, and at the end he's like, yeah, but I'm a Nazi now. Like he was saying things. If you were to read it, it sounds absolutely horrible,
It does, yeah, but that's
but
not the
everything,
context.
yeah, everything about us, right? For energy, the tone of his voice, the inflections, you could see he's squirming, knowing he's, didn't his joke didn't land well, but he kept going for it. So you gotta admire that. And that's what happens, by the way, in these small improv in the Comedy Store in LA. You see them squirming and sketching and just trying out things. you know? And yeah, that has got to be the most experimenting, putting it out there without the risk of, whatever this stupid cancel culture is that exists, but still there's other people still doing their stuff, not buying into it. You're being you. Yeah, keep swearing as much as possible. I
Yeah,
encourage that.
I
you know?
my
Mm,
family,
mm,
there's a part of my family, the Polish side of it
mhm,
that gave up their Judaism for Lent in 1939. Uh,
mhm,
I'm sorry, that just went that's terrible. When Hitler invaded and so on and so forth. So we do got some ties with the tribe here, but I don't know. I mean, I've learned that humor allows us to connect, and making fun
100%.
of ourselves and being able to have a little levity about some pretty horrible things. Usually, I can laugh about, days that I shit my pants and
Mhm.
pissed myself when I was, fully in the
Well
grips of
done.
addiction,
Yes.
and if I say
Yes,
that,
that saves you.
if I say it in a room at AA,
Mhm.
everyone's laughing.
Right.
Everyone's like, is not, oh my God, this was so horrible. Yeah, it
Right.
was horrible at the
Yes.
moment, but on the other side of it, there's still some humor as dark as it can be. I guess
Yeah.
I used to have TikTok, and I used to
Yeah.
do like 2 3 minute sketches of things that I found funny observations I would make in life, like that, Subaru drivers all seem to want to stop at a green light, like, ooh, maybe
Mhm.
it'll be yellow in a minute, and we can stop and wait. And so different things, but apparently my humor got me banned from TikTok for life.
Oh, congratulations.
I don't
That's
even think
quite
I
an
touched
achievement.
anything
Ah,
that
you probably
controversial.
that's the thing. You really don't have to do much these days. So, you happen to be spotted, unfortunately. But hey, try it again on another name or whatever. Keep
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you want
maybe.
to, you know what I
I
mean?
don't know. I don't know. I just
That means you're
jot
doing something good.
I jot these things down in notes whenever I have a thing, and I'm pretty good at deadpan because I'm
Yeah,
usually perfectly serious about something that I find
yeah,
annoying, and everyone finds it funny because I'll
right,
talk about it.
right.
I actually think Larry David and I have some kind of connection in the spiritual realm of things,
Oh,
because I will not watch it, and then I'll turn it on, and he's having this. His show is about the same things that I'm talking about. I watched season 11, and
it's the best season ever.
it's
I
the
just
pool
watched the whole
fence.
thing. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
or the Make America Great hat. I love
yeah.
that. So,
Yeah, yeah, so he
oh
wouldn't have to talk to somebody. I know, it's so great. I literally just this past last month watched Curb from the first season to 11, and the 11 is so good, and
oh,
that's because
the
of
good
all the stuff
Nazi.
that he's playing with. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, it's
so
funny.
good, and the
It's funny.
pedophile, like,
Oh yeah, what? But he's a golfer. He's a golfer, so he's got all the good golf
and
equipment.
he's
He's not that
Jewish.
bad.
He's Jewish. Invite him over for Passover. So great. Yeah,
That
yeah.
was great.
All of that.
That
Yeah,
was
but
great.
so okay, this is what I love about synchronicity. Literally, these I knew we were talking today. These are the things I was thinking about on my walk, like comedians, like who has actually shaped me and inspired me. It's not other artists. Well, as far as painting goes, it is. I was thinking of Robin Williams. How
Mm,
much I was obsessed, and like everything he did, he was so unique. And I remember him saying, "Yeah, I don't go to any other comedian shows because I don't want to feel like I was influenced by them at all. I want it to come solely from me, like just trying to get so I don't know, clear that it was coming from him. Although his observation of the world and all of that, that's where he was locked in. That's the focus and the inspiration. I just
you know,
loved that. And I loved him. Yeah.
I didn't
Go
really
on.
love his stand-up,
Yeah.
I didn't really love it, but I could not watch
Mhm.
it without laughing and smiling. The energy that he projected, I didn't like John
Yeah.
Candy was another one. I didn't even have to hear the joke. If
Mhm.
John Candy was laughing, I
Mhm.
was laughing with him. He just had a
Yeah.
special energy, and that's funny too, because I just
Yeah.
rewatched Good Will Hunting recently, which is one
Oh,
of
yeah,
my
yeah. That's a good, yeah,
absolute
he was,
favorite movies.
yeah, yeah,
So he could
fantastic.
do it all. He was brilliant. What a genius, to be
Yeah.
able to make those comebacks, and that manic working of his brain that, too
Yeah,
many
you
people.
you watch it unravel right in front of you. The
Hmm.
free association, the just
Hmm.
on point. Yeah, it's amazing that he did it every single time. But nowadays, like Bill Burr or John Mulaney and Tom Segura, I love these guys.
Hmm.
I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast for years, like before I moved to LA. And then when I knew I was moving here, and he always invited his, comedian friends I had not heard of, like Theo Vaughn, yeah, Tom Segura, all of them, Ari Shaffir. And then when I moved here, I actually had the opportunity. You're just in this intimate room with all of these hilarious, entities,
Wow,
spewing. And it's infectious. It gets you high.
it
That gets you
does.
high,
It
and
does.
especially when they're on or they screw up, it doesn't matter. They keep going and building, and it's even better. Just like those are the things that inspire me, that's fantastic.
One of the
And
first
Simon
things.
Amstel. Yeah, go on.
Oh, no, no. One of the first things that came back in early recovery for me was my sense of humor.
Hmm.
I was beyond help. I was a mess. I was in my 35th rehab. I was but the thing that came back before any good feelings, before any happiness, before any real recovery, was at least a sense of humor to be able to look at where exactly I was,
Hmm.
and I think it opened my mind a lot, because you get offended if someone disrespects you or doesn't honor you or whatever. But
Yeah, yeah,
at that point, I'm going, why should someone respect me? I'm
right.
48 years old. I'm in
Hmm.
rehab number 35.
Hmm.
My wife is supporting me.
Hmm.
I've really made a grand mess of things. I mean, she was like,
Hmm.
she's the only reason I'm alive. She was,
Right.
she had put her foot down about the addiction,
Hmm.
and she was ready to divorce me. But she still loved me. She didn't want to put me
Hmm.
on the street, exactly the way I was in the throes of addiction and so forth. So she's like, if you can stay sober, you can live indoors. I'll feed you,
Hmm.
I'll water you, I'll keep you going,
Right.
until you can get back on your feet, and then we'll go through the divorce. And
Right.
so I started looking at it from another angle, started looking at, well, why should people respect me? Look, what have I accomplished? What have I gone done? I'm very good at getting
Hmm.
high. I like that. I can come up
Hmm.
with some pretty clever ways to keep functionality
Hmm.
in a dysfunctional life. But
Well, that's
aside from that,
admirable. That's creative.
well, it takes a fair amount. I've talked to people that are very
Mm.
closed-minded. Well, addicts are stupid. I'm like, no, no. You have to
Are you
look at
kidding me?
the
Yeah,
creative drive behind how they kept themselves, chemically on a
yeah,
cloud to their self-destruction,
yeah,
and stayed functional enough to do that for a period of
yeah.
time.
Just
So
a side plug for John Mulaney, who I love. Watch his special on Netflix. Um, he talks about all of that, like how he had creative ways to steal money from himself to
mhm.
buy drugs. It's awesome. Okay, continue.
Well, no,
Go on.
I'm reading a book by Don Lattin, who was
Uh-huh.
I think he was a reporter, one of the big ones in San Francisco, and
Hmm.
he was addicted and everything else. I'm reading a book by him right now, and the last thing I read before we got on was he used to buy an 8 ball of cocaine and he'd cut it into two piles, and he would
Hmm.
and have one pile that he used and he put the other half in a lockbox and mailed the key to himself. So
Oh,
so
that's,
so that's pretty clever. I'm like, all right,
yeah,
yeah, I can't put cocaine in a
I
drawer
need to write that
myself.
down.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I will, it will beckon me from that drawer, it's like, I
Hmm.
know I've done enough cocaine and I wanted some for tomorrow, but it's still
Hmm.
there, so I lost control over that, but I mean, if I wanted to play identity politics, I fit enough different roles, that I could have my separateness, with the bisexual leanings that I had, through part of
Hmm.
my life.
Hmm.
I've got Native American heritage, I've got
Hmm.
Judaism as part of my
Hmm.
heritage and so forth. But I found that identity politics only serves to rule us. um, Identity politics serves to keep us divided and easy to rule and divide and conquer.
Yeah,
Um,
that's when you have to think of that Nikola Tesla quote about, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Then you have the answers, because then you know it has really nothing to do with any of that, who you are, right? And it actually has nothing to do with thinking about it. You have to feel it, okay? And if you lose your sense of intuition and trusting your own guidance system, then let's say you're not feeling well and you don't have the tools to deal with something healthily, you're going to reach for cocaine because, hey, why not? It's going to feel great. You're reaching it to soothe yourself because it's a tool and a teacher, oh, especially a teacher for you, because you, after 30, how many? 35 rehabs,
yeah,
now you're sober. Whatever, it taught you a shit ton.
it
Okay. It was a
works very
teacher.
well. It works
Yeah.
very
Okay.
well. And then, I mean, we go, I've just finished reading, incredible book. I highly recommend it, by Gabor Mate, The Myth of Normal, where he's like, these addictions that got destructive in the beginning were doing something for you. In the beginning, when I first discovered alcohol and drugs, I was social misfit. I couldn't blend in. I was bad at
You're
sports.
not supposed to.
I didn't know
Yeah.
how to talk to people. I felt out of
Um,
place. And when I hit the magic elixir, you hit the sauce, and suddenly it was like, oh wow, I'm not afraid to blend in. I'm not afraid to go to a party. I'm not afraid to
mhm,
talk to people. So it did a great thing for me when it first came around, and probably helped me to survive. But if we really look at it, it's only the symptom of, the original problems that we have that come out as substance abuse. They come out as many different addictions. I mean,
mhm,
food, sex, pornography, gambling,
mhm.
substances, success, workaholism. If any of these are shaping us towards, negative aspects, because you'll look at some really successful CEOs, that are raking in the bucks, and they're very creative, they're very good, and they're on, like, marriage number four, and their kids don't talk to them. So
Yeah,
obviously there's not a balance.
that's fine. Right. So again, okay, yeah, you can look at them, but like, what's your path? What are you supposed to experience? And again, everything doesn't fit in little boxes and categories, and everything is more fluid. It doesn't have to be all things and whatever, like I once read something that, everything is inherently neutral and we're giving it meaning. So whatever you take from the reflections of what is showing up in your life, you want to look at that CEO and go, yeah, he has that, but that's not the balance. I may desire that, but that's not a life I want. It actually shows you more of what you want. So it's either by reflections of other people or some good investigation within yourself, you know. And then then if you're awake and you realize that you're thinking and feeling, so you're in alignment with who you are, then those people, things, events, and you're sober in the brain because you're
Hmm.
aware in the moment, of an opportunity, a person, a door that you were meant to walk through, something that makes you stop and go, "Oh," it may seem ordinary, but if you're awake to it, you know the magic in it, or you know there's something else to it. So you explore it, and it leads you down another way. And it just another segment on the way to somewhere you think you need to go, but then you go in another direction and it's even better because you're following the clues. If you're not so insistent on how it's supposed to unfold, how am I supposed to live my life? Was supposed to do all these things and be this way, and all these, like, I don't know, um how do I say this,
It's a
like,
mask. We put on a mask.
identification, yeah, identifications of beliefs that don't serve you. But the great things about belief is they're just thoughts you think, and you
Hmm.
can change the thoughts you think, and then you change your beliefs. And once you do that, boom, your perspective changes, and then you see something. Just like being an addict, okay, you can look, oh, they're, you feel out of control, they're destroying everything, all of this, but what is really happening, that's the superficial.
Hmm.
I'm not saying it's not challenging for everybody dealing with it and the
Hmm.
person. There's so much more, but whatever. And you gotta laugh because nothing's so serious going on. We're all fucking gonna die anyways.
Oh yeah,
Pardon my French.
yeah. The
So you
one
gotta lighten up a little and realize that. So
I think the
gotta
one
lighten up.
thing
Yeah.
you can guarantee is that if you are being authentic, not everybody's gonna like you.
But good. Who
Good.
cares?
Yeah,
Why do you want
exactly.
that? Ugh, that's so boring. Okay. And I think I have this reaction because I feel like I didn't get it myself until later. Like I knew I had some kind of strong instinct to, I don't know, go in a certain direction, not even sure of what to do. You asked me about my painting. Yeah, I never chose it. Never had a dream of becoming a painter. I was just expressing myself and learning from what was being created. Like, it's the other way around. My spirituality was it's my paintings are my spirituality incarnate, so it's like I'm not even doing it, it's all I don't have an idea of what I'm going to do beforehand.
Hmm.
It's just a blob on color, and like, look for what it wants to show you, not trying to mold it into how you feel it should be. It parallels life so well, and that's how I can learn from what I can do with my life is what shows up in a painting, or how, like, something you never thought of doing, or um, I would never have thought to paint this thing. I didn't have that in my head beforehand. It started showing up, and when you allow it to show up in awkwardness and uncomfortable ways, then you learn because it's unique, like all of us. So if we go out into the world needing to be like, yeah, I have to be like a people pleaser to make everybody happy and
Hmm.
do this to be successful. Oh my God, can I yawn now and go to
Yeah,
bed? Yeah,
yeah.
fuck up, do drugs that mess everything up as big as possible. But wake up if you can. That would be great. But you're
Hmm.
gonna die anyways and be eternal. So it's like we're all gonna go down the hallway we chose, So, and we get to choose how, right? So you want to do a cartwheel, you want to dance, you want to cry, you do whatever, but just try uh, try to feel comfortable and feeling awkward, and not in the right of where you are. That wasn't so eloquent, but
No, but no, no, actually it was. Actually it was because I feel that way. I was a visual artist first. It was probably like my first love was drawing and painting and making art with visual mediums. And I don't even know if it was so much my thing as it was one of the very few things that I would get praised for in my
yeah,
family.
okay.
That's like, oh, look, he's got a skill, he's got a talent for this and
Mhm.
so on and so forth. So, you know, to seek the love and acceptance that we all need, that we're born needing to be connected, we're born needed to have a certain amount of love. We have no agency when we come into this world. For the first several years of our life, we're at, the mercy of those who produced us. And that can segue into what was your early life like? Where did you grow up? What was happening with
Hold
you?
on, I just want to clarify. You said we're born to connect and feel love. Is that
I
how you
I
said it?
think yeah, I think that everyone has an innate need for a certain amount of love, acceptance, and human beings, have to be with their parents for, longest time in the animal kingdom, that we're helpless and so forth. And I think that we often, well, I can speak for myself, I compromised my authenticity often to get acceptance and love. If mommy and daddy don't like angry Paul, or whatnot, well, you can bet early on I'm going to learn to put my smiling face on to get the things that I need.
Okay, but
So I
that's
compromise that.
awesome too, because those conditions, like I think that's why we're put in the families, so you can actually use that as fuel to level up, like
Hmm.
you figured it out. Nobody could tell you how to do it. You still did it. Yes, you got help and you met people, and we had talked about this, about synchronicity, and
Hmm.
you wanted to know, like, have I found my family and tribe? Well, guess what? What happens when you start becoming yourself authentically? You attract, it's physics. You're attracting like-minded people. So if you have the courage to be yourself, or you be yourself, you get the courage after. It doesn't matter. But if you are, to the best of your ability, being yourself, you are going to attract those people. You can feel it. You don't
Hmm.
even have to have met them in real life. You can feel people's energy from wherever, you know, and you can get a sense of who they are, who we are, or together. And you could also, you can, like, it's palpable. It's a palpable
Hmm.
feeling, and that is so powerful. That is, I love that. I love that you could listen to a bunch of people talk in a room or at a party or at a gathering, and everybody's speaking, and there's a total other conversation going on nobody can hear, but it's just as loud if you know how to tune into it. So interesting. And yeah, and so whatever you're focused on too, that's, like with your antenna, that's what you're going to pick up most, you know? So when I first moved here, I heard so many people going, "Oh, do you like LA? Oh, the people are awful. It's so this and this and this." And I'm like, "Yeah, that wasn't my experience.
Experience,
I
no.
have met amazing people, like the best people, wherever I am. I feel so fortunate in my life to have met so many amazing people who make me laugh, inspire me, help me grow, or that I just love so much. Some people I don't even know why I love them so much. It's like not a real tangible reason why, but I have such a feel of connection, and it's an incredible feeling.
Hmm.
It makes everything, all that noise about identity politics and, oh God, yawn, everything, all of that, being politically correct. Give it, fine, go waste your time on that, or go do that. I don't care. I'm not doing that. And whatever. It
Well,
all comes
I
down to, like,
think,
are you happy? Are you
mm,
having a good time? And if you're not, hey, that's cool too. Listen, I have days and stuff. Everybody's human. We're not meant to be on a joy bliss ride for the whole time. That's not that exciting. But you realize, yeah, it's temporary. Whatever. I if you know who you are, nothing's gonna keep you down. You know what I mean? Because you know more. You know how the structure of the universe works, so to speak. It lightens the load.
does
So
it does absolutely is absolutely correct. I mean, it's hard. I think we're in a culture that now is equating how angry someone gets about perhaps someone else's injustice with how much we hate injustice, so to speak. And I
Okay,
don't,
don't even waste your time. Why do
yeah,
you think about these people? I don't even want them in my head. You
I'm an
know, it's like
overthinker.
there's infinite realities going on. And if these whatever, I don't even want to give that time. You know what I mean? So I don't care. It's like me and you, let's have fun. Me and you, let's see what else we have to share. You know what I mean? Let's mix it up. I want to know what good food you ate.
Yeah. I mean, well,
I want to know what
I
good
mean,
music
if you
you
are
listen
waiting
to.
for the result, you're missing out on a lot. Like if the result is I have a master's degree in psychology or a doctorate, or I am a musician playing out, or I'm an artist that has shows,
Yeah, that sounds
or any
great.
of that, that sounds great. But if that's the sole be all and end all, it's very dissatisfying.
Okay,
Whereas,
but it's site specific, like you said, for you.
mhm,
To somebody else, hey, to them, that might be the ideal life they live. Look, on paper, it's so amazing. You know what I mean? Good for them. It's like, it's having really, like, I want to live my life. Nobody's lived my life. Nobody can tell me what to do in the sense to make it better. Yeah, I will listen to advice. And if anybody has some suggestions, yeah, I'm open to it. But nobody can really tell me how I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like, because it's nobody's path but mine. That nobody, and going forward, it's nobody's, right? So if I had kept looking to, like, you know, oh, I want to be this person. I need to be. Like, it's squashing all the life and opportunity of what you could do. And I need to know that. I need to know more. I cannot like, when things go stale, in my head, I need to experiment. And I mean in life. If
mhm.
it's a move somewhere, if it's doing something else, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over. That's You're not living, you're existing.
Well,
And that's not a choice for me.
I think you coined it beautifully. I think that you said it eloquently, is that when you start, you don't even know what the art's going to be, the final product of it. You start and you just let that energy kind of go through you and let the art become what it will. And I know for me, in those places, writing, doing visual art, it almost like get into a kind of a trance,
You are.
that I'm getting into a
Mhm.
trance, and like I might have one cogent thought for an essay I'm going to write, and it becomes 7, 10 paragraphs. It becomes a subchapter of a book from one cogent thought. And where it came from is like, this is not floating around constantly. I have this all outlined and how I'm going to put the para. No, it just ends up bleh, and there it is. It's like, wow, I didn't know I was thinking about all this. And same
Yes.
with the
Yes.
art, it would be like, oh, I'm just starting. I would just like let my hands go where they wanted to. I get a pen in
Yes.
them or something like that, and it
Because you're
would become
feeling it.
something. It would become
Yeah.
something, and then after, what it became was usually, pretty psychologically telling. It's
Right.
like, oh, okay, these are things that are happening below the radar in my head that ended up
Yes.
coming out in a piece of artwork.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Writing
Where
is such a
was
powerful tool. Great.
where was
Words
art
are
it
great.
for you? Where did you grow up? What was your life like? How was
I'm
your
still growing
childhood?
up. I'm still
Oh,
I'm still growing up. Let me say one more thing too. That, like, my life is how I create. And but everybody creates. That just Yeah. We have to take action. So action is, um, the language of physical reality. You can think all these things, like Napoleon Hill. Did you read any of his books?
no, but I've read a lot along the same lines of manifestation. Neville
Yeah,
Goddard,
it was
Dispenza.
marketed as a financial book, but underneath it's all talking about vibration and potency. It's so epic. I read it in 2013. It's like still one of my favorite books. And um, yeah, Outwitting the Devil. That's another one of his, super interesting. You know, what happens is when you realize, like, you're writing and you said it's a trance, it is, because you're accessing higher parts of yourself.
Mhm.
You can't do that if there's noise going around all the time. You're worried if, what will this person think, or I need to do it a certain way. You have to zone all of it out. And then it is you're channeling information that you don't even know the potency of it until it's out there, and then you benefit from it. Or this is delightful, is when a total stranger from across the world sees something or hears something that you have shared, and it could have been scary to share, and they resonate so heavily and they share back, and you're like, oh my God, that more fabric being wove together and creating unity. It's a really powerful feeling that, yeah, art. And well, I think we're art, and when we don't express ourselves as art, that's when you're dying, or you're just existing as a cookie cutter. And yeah, whatever. But hey, you can do that. Whatever. All the
Well,
power
I
to
don't
you.
know. The
You
muse,
know.
the inspiration that seems to hit me best when I've cleared the conduit enough to connect. And by clearing the conduit, I mean I'm not angry all the time. I'm not living in fear all the time. I'm not living for, like you said, what other people are thinking of me,
Yeah,
and
you're
so on and
living.
so
You're
forth.
actually living.
I'm being, I'm existing, and then something magic will come through. Something
Right.
magic will come
But you
through
have to
the
take
writing
action.
or
Like,
the art.
right. You have to take action. Like, I don't sit there going, yeah, I'm going to wait to feel inspired. No. It
No, you got to
soon
do it.
when I start painting, then the inspiration catches up. Sometimes I don't want to paint. Sometimes I'm like, ugh, but sometimes I also know, okay, if I've done a bunch of stuff, sometimes I need to chill out because I want to like empty myself of whatever
Mhm.
that was, so I can keep it fresh for myself. If I'm not having fun, nobody else is going to either. And I feel like everything's so transparent if you're paying attention, you know, and and that is also really interesting, you know, just in our world. And yeah, I don't know. All right, I
Well, no,
I
I,
went
I
off
think
on a
that no,
tangent.
what you say is correct. I believe that one of the books that got me started on the whole idea of manifestation and changing my thoughts, changes my perspective, changes what I'm living, changes my life, was
Hmm.
accidental. It was another case of synchronicity. I was early in
No
my
accidents.
sobriety. I was miserable, and I was on the sofa watching YouTube videos. I did a search on, like, I don't know, ancient Anunnaki of Assyria or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. It was just on
yeah.
weird aliens, conspiracy stuff, crazy shit. And I'm just on the sofa watching it. And out of the blue, in that queue of videos that started playing, came on this video, Bruce Lipton, on the biology of belief. And he was a molecular biologist. He taught medical school and so on and so forth. And he was one of the earliest proponents of epigenetics,
Yeah.
because as the Human Genome Project evolved through the 90s, we thought we were going to be far more genetically diverse than we are, because we make
Mhm.
over 100, we express our DNA with over 125,000 different proteins that our cells will make. But
Mhm.
we're not much more, they discovered, we're not much more genetically diverse than worms. So where is this
Okay.
all coming from? And
Right.
he's like, all right, this is coming from nurture. This is coming from,
Mhm.
we're activating our DNA ourselves through so on and so forth, through how we're thinking. And I was like, I watched this. It was just a stale video. It's just like a college lecture, and he's just at the front of the room talking about it. And I was too lazy to do a crunch, to do one crunch, grab the remote control. So I started watching
Mhm.
it. And
Mhm.
uh
Uh-huh.
and it changed my whole life, because it's like your
Yeah.
thoughts
There you go.
are why your reality is the way it is.
When
And
was
by the
that?
that was probably in 2018, and I
Mhm.
was still having trouble with I come home from rehab. My everybody, everybody hated me. The only friend I had in the house was a big yellow cat. And so my son's, he's stomping around the house and so on. So slamming cupboards, just a bad vibe. And
Right,
he's not going to listen to anything I have to say because he's like, what can you tell me, junkie?
right.
So a lot of justified anger and so on and so forth. But what I was noticing was I was getting a grip of my words. I could, see something that he would do in the house. He was 19 at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
he would leave the towels on the bathroom floor. He wasn't paying rent or anything. I thought he should be responsible and pick up his own towels and act like an adult and try to help us out. But the first thought that would come to my mind was that, oh, this entitled little arrogant, such and so on. By time I would address the problem, if I considered it a big enough problem, it would be, oh, can you please help out and pick up your towels on the floor? So I could present it in the way, but my first thoughts were negative and so on. And what was
Mm-hmm.
happening is I would tell him he's not dumb. He's a very smart guy. He didn't like me having to tell him things. So
Right.
it's not like he's just causing this chaos on purpose to piss me off, which I would have wanted to
Mm-hmm.
think. And then yet the next day after I made sure he heard it, I said it in a nice manner, towels
Mm-hmm.
on the floor again. But after I watched that video, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt every time I
Mm-hmm.
think he's doing something wrong. It's like, well, he's my
Mm-hmm.
son. I want the best for him. I love him. Maybe he just forgot or whatever. So I just changed the thinking a little bit. Within 2 weeks, his behavior around the house had completely changed. One
Of
day I
course it
come
did.
home and he's just like,
Shocking.
oh, I'll take out the
Mm-hmm.
garbage if you want, and if
Yep.
if I can use the reciprocating saw, I'll go cut up those branches that fell in the yard. I'm like, who is this kid? A week ago, he's like
Yeah.
at my throat.
Yeah. Awesome. That was an awesome experiment you did. And then you
Mhm.
can see the result of it. Yes. I love
Yeah.
doing
Well,
experiments.
I think those things are very similar to any
Mhm.
other laws of physics,
Yes.
velocity, entropy, gravity, and so on and so forth, that there are laws of how the universe works. And if we can find the niche to work within them, then suddenly everybody's like, how does everything just work out for you?
Right.
Oh,
That's what I love, that everything is simple physics. Did you read anything by Dr. Joe Dispenza,
yeah.
Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself? You
Hmm.
know that part in the book where he talks like, you know, um behind us is all the particles and waves in a big soupy mess, blah, blah, blah. But the moment you turn around and you focus, then it actually like create materializes something,
Hmm.
so that's really what's happening all the time. That
Well,
is
it
such
gets
a
to be a
trick to
critical
think about.
mass of
Yeah,
negativity where you're just sucking everything negative. At least for my life,
yeah,
it
because that's
was
where
that
you're
point.
but
It's
that's where
that
you're
it's like
focused.
everything sucks. I'll never heal. I'll never be good.
But that's
Life
what's
is
going on.
terrible. Yeah. And so I got more of that. And I started
Yeah.
noticing, well, the people who complain every day have something new to complain about every day. Some new terrible thing happens to them. It's just like, okay,
Oh,
maybe I'll put the
oh, that's so
complaining back.
huge. Yeah, 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 yeah. But that's where they're focused. It's like, give me some CNN right now. I need my CNN. Can you
Oh.
believe that happened? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, that is total distraction from keeping you from creating your life. All those things are just distractions set up that we're conditioned to believe it matters. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Because when you stop paying attention to those things and focus on other things, that's when the good stuff happens. Oh, let me tell you some. This is the greatest quote I heard from an awesome human in my life about a year ago. We went to Knoxbury Farm, and I haven't gone on roller coasters since I was a kid. I was so terrified because when I went when I was younger, the seatbelt was loose and I was like
Mhm.
sliding, and I thought I was going to die. Bad things were happening, but I didn't. And it had been since then since I went. But I'm like, you know what? That's such old dialogue. I was laughing at myself that I'm like even giving it any. power. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go on this crazy roller coaster that goes upside down 4 times, side 4 times, like whatever, totally intense, right? So I go on it. There's three of us, and I'm wearing the Whoop or watch, whatever. And at the end, yeah, I screamed, but I knew how to kind of like, when you focus your head, you don't get like caught up in the vortex of the roller coaster. Anyways, so I was just as a joke, I'm like, "What's your heart rate?" Because mine was 123, and I thought, yeah, okay. I thought maybe it would have been a little higher, but yeah,
Mhm.
okay. And he goes, it was mine's 79. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, I'm not that easily impressed. Like that is the key to living this life in our world, in this world, or whatever. There's many realities, but it was so poignant and so hilarious. And the way he said it so nonchalantly, and the evidence was there on his Apple Watch, yeah, I'm not that easily impressed, which means like all the CNNs, all the breaking news, all this noise that wants to like take you on that ride and
Mhm.
distract you from your own ride. Like that I don't know. That was so perfect. I still think of that quote. So great.
Who are your favorite artists?
Yeah, it's comedians.
Okay, so
Comedians
we're not gonna, we don't
and
have any
actors.
painters in there, huh?
No, okay, here's the thing. Yeah, I never thought of myself as a painter. I was a dancer when I was young. I loved dancing so much, like, and music. So in my head, I was always like moving, choreographing things to any sound I could hear. I love that. So I just really just I transferred my painting, my the dancing onto the canvas. So when I was younger, yes, I did. My mom's an amazing artist, just a creative oozing genius. So she showed me Picasso and Toulouse-Lautrec, all of those great masters.
Hmm.
And to this day, to me, they still hold the same for me. I don't get overly excited about art like paintings, and I'm not like, oh my God, I've got to go to this gallery. Never was a part of my being. I enjoy doing it, but nothing like going to a concert or watching great films and now watching amazing comedians. Nothing compares to that to me. Like
I think I,
that's
I
inspiring.
I connected with Van Gogh not through his painting. I always thought his painting was interesting. I always liked it. I always thought it was bright, colorful, and moving. But I didn't really connect to Van Gogh until I had read the letters to his brother, the
Yes,
letters to
I agree.
Theo. And
I am
and
with you.
then I
Yeah.
really, then my heart really felt for Van Gogh, and I could really, because I think the last letter he writes is from Arles, and he's in an asylum, and he asks his brother who's going to paint my Starry Night, and that was his last painting. I think I'm right on that. That he went out and he painted it himself, and that made me feel such a synchronicity, a connection to
Yeah,
him,
it's
and
I
so
know.
forth. That I was just like, oh, this poor
Yeah,
guy is just so tortured and stuff going on and everything else. And
yeah.
I really could see his humanness after that. And then his art changed completely for
Oh,
me. And
Paul.
I just
Yes.
loved it.
Yeah, okay, you hit on that one too. Okay, I agree. I had the same experience. Like I gravitated to his paintings, but once you read the letters and experienced his pain, ugh, and you just want to love. And it's torture. It's just so torturous. And I actually went to Amsterdam to his gallery, and it is an intense, yeah, feeling because everything's wonky, just like his paintings. And yeah, his energy is just coming through there. Yeah, dark,
Yeah, in the next
intense.
couple of years, I'm planning a trip. I'm gonna hit Amsterdam. I'm gonna hit Scandinavia. I got some friends over there I'd like to visit and so forth, and maybe Germany for that trip.
Yeah, it will be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also Frida Kahlo, by the way. I never enjoyed her paintings. I thought I didn't have any, I don't know, affinity for them, so to speak. Then I saw Julie Taymor's beautifully done movie with Selma Hayek, the
I think I saw
Frida.
that. Yep.
It was so gorgeous. But then you got to see the story and her journey, and you see that there are journals, but
Hmm.
uh, obviously there's, more information to
One of my
to go
favorite
on.
quotes, and I'm gonna butcher it here, is I drank to drown my sorrows, and my sorrows they learned to swim, by Friedrich, and that's
Yeah,
Kahlo. It's I'm paraphrasing, of course, but I could so identify with that. It's like, yeah, at first this was working for me. It made me feel better. It made me feel comfortable. And then
yeah,
it just was not. But now I'm stuck and I don't know anything else to do. So I'm going to keep
right.
repeating the problem, hoping for a different outcome, which I think is Einstein's definition of insanity. So I
Yeah.
keep repeating the same process and expecting different results, even though I haven't really changed any of them.
Oh, one of my favorite examples with Einstein, when he was trying to figure out his formulas and he would get stuck, he would go play the violin. And in that pivoting of shift of focus and he's releasing everything, that's when he got the download. That's when
Yeah,
he's like figuring out the theory of relativity, you know? And that's exactly how it works. When you're efforting, no, it's like you can get results with discipline, of course, right? But when you are truly inspired and you're in that flow of that heart mind coordination,
hmm,
well, however you want to call it, then things happen beyond your expectations or insistence, beyond that you couldn't even imagine that
hmm,
that could happen. And that has happened throughout my life, that I know that that's a thing, like when you experience these moments, like, yeah, I don't even know. I wouldn't have ever thought that that could have happened this way to this way, because it's not like a linear path. It's like all this weird, it's an amazing, I don't know, puzzle.
you start enjoying the journey. The process itself becomes where you want to be. And I think, for me, I started practicing more mindfulness and stuff. My one of my first giving things in early recovery was I'm a good cook. And my since my wife is, supporting us and paying the bills and everything else, I just got and we're broke, because I'm not working, so it's only one income coming in. It was just more frugal to buy everything, the ingredients, and make everything from scratch. It was
Mhm.
cheaper to buy flour and make things from scratch than to buy a bag of cookies already made, and so on and so forth. And I kind of became like, she'd get home from work, she'd be like, "What's for dinner?" And I'd be like, "What do you want? I'll make you anything you
Mhm.
want. I'll figure it out," and so that became like my first act of like mindfulness. Was one of those practices was I'm going to go in the kitchen before I'm starving, so I'm not just rushing to cook.
Right.
Maybe have a little snack on the outset of cooking, so I'm not just rushing through to get food and then just powering it into my mouth to satisfy that urge. And so, I'd go into it and I would start just slowly peeling carrots and peeling potatoes. And I was like, wow, this process is actually very relaxing if
Yes.
I allow it to be, and I'm enjoying the whole thing. And then of course my food would come out better because, the spirit of what was behind it wasn't just a rush and get it on the
Yeah,
plate
you
as
were
quick as possible.
enjoying it. You were
Hmm.
enjoying it. It wasn't just a means to an end to stuff your pie hole. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
sometimes that's necessary, but for the most part, yes, it's taking those ordinary things, those ordinary moments, and experiencing them in a grander way. That's the magic, happens. It should happen every day, and plus even more things. And cooking though, like you're sharing, you're giving, you're
Hmm.
making, like that makes so much, plus all the senses, you're
Gratifying.
smelling,
It's very
tasting. Yeah,
gratifying,
yeah.
because it was pleasurable. One, I like to
Mhm,
eat good food, and I like to
mhm,
take, good things that taste good, and I want to eat them,
mhm.
and so on. But it was gratifying because it wasn't just just pleasure. Like I
Mhm.
take pleasure in binge watching 8 hours of Ozarks, but it's not gratifying.
Great show.
It is a great show and it was
Yeah.
enjoyable, but
Yeah.
nothing really got accomplished. I didn't create anything. I didn't do
No,
something
but
for
if
anyone
you're saying
else.
to yourself, I'm going to give myself this time to watch it, great. But if you're
Hmm.
doing that all the time and not doing what you want to do, okay, well, again, it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it, and being aware of what you're doing, you know?
What kind of
So,
practices do you have? Do you do like a daily regimen of anything? Do you meditate? Do
well,
you do any yoga or?
I go, I love yoga. I got into Bikram. I was doing that. I go in phases because I will get burnt out. But one thing that has stuck with me for a very long time is running, because something with running and yeah, I get I get downloads when I run. I get super creative, or I just want the quiet and it resets me. I feel like, vitality is such a huge ingredient in having an enjoyable life. Like I need and I want to move. Nobody's going to twist my arm to say, go feel better, And I'm not making myself, it's not like, yeah, I got to go to the gym. You know, yeah, whatever. Some people find that gratifying and that's great. But it's not even the exercise part. That's a benefit, of course, but it really is the ideas, the flashes, the insights, the like, you have a conversation with somebody where you're thinking of something, and then all of a sudden just pops into your head. Like it comes from nowhere. It only really happens when I'm running. It does happen when I like walk in the woods and hiking, but not in the same intensity as when I'm running. And I for now I love it.
Well, that makes a
So
lot of
I
sense.
I don't.
That, a physical activity like that is a full-brained activity. So if you suffer, I suffered for years of perseverating thoughts. Oh, you're a loser, you're an idiot, your kids hate you, your wife's divorcing you, blah, blah, blah. That's depressing.
Oh, those are funny thoughts you
Yeah, yeah.
think.
I mean, it's like, well, geez, no wonder you're depressed. Look at what you're thinking all the time. And there's
Yeah.
certain things like chanting during meditation, singing a song, humming, pulling weeds, going for a run, doing a crossword that occupy both hemispheres of your brain. So they shut off that BS machine that we've learned to fill with a bunch of nonsense to tell ourselves, whether we heard it from our parents, whether we heard it from our teachers, or whatnot. So the running makes a lot of sense because you're occupied.
But
You're
outside, that's another key component. I have no interest in running on a treadmill. I will, and I have, but it's being around trees, it's being around nature, because you literally are aligning with your true vibration, and frequency.
yeah.
It boosts you. Just being around trees and nature that does that. Yeah. So I could not live in a cement city with pointy 90-degree angled buildings. Yeah, I think I would self combust.
Funny
There's
enough,
no way.
city living has higher incidences of schizophrenia. They don't
Yeah,
know
all
why,
right.
but living in a city, living because you're around so many people, but most of us are still so alone, in that experience. I'm not alone ever anymore, because I'm good at entertaining myself, and I can feel the connection to something greater than myself. So
Yeah.
now I'm not isolating by not being around people. Now there's a difference between isolation and solitude. I enjoy my solitude greatly, just spending hours reading a book or writing or doing things by
You,
myself
you
without.
need to. You need to have that time alone. You know? And if you're not enjoying it, there's something wrong because you need to reset for yourself, you
Well, it
know?
gives my wife a break from too much Paul. I was like, too much Paul is too much Paul here. Let
Right.
me just entertain because one person I don't think can be the be all and end all. I have different people for different things, like,
Right.
my wife's my best friend. We
Yeah.
stayed together. I'm in love with her. I love her more every day. Learn more about her, and I love her more with each passing day, which I didn't think that was going to happen. I chose her in my 20s because she was sexually attractive to me,
Right.
and she could stand me.
Yeah.
So I
You were
had
in your
yeah,
20s.
I
How
had
old are
pretty
you?
low qualifications. Oh, okay, she
Yeah.
can she can tolerate me, and I like to have sex. So
Right.
those were pretty much the only things. But I didn't know myself then, so she always had a better knowledge of herself. She's very down to earth, and she got very simple faith, and it works for her. It works perfectly
Mm.
for her. And so she was always able to see something in me that I could not see myself. And it's like, I think it's been expressed by William Blake in his quote about when the doors of perception are cleansed, we'll see things as they truly are, infinite. And I think a good mother is a good example of that, like a mother who's prepared for having a child, wants the child, and so on and so forth. And, it almost becomes what we call like rose colored glasses, because the mother goes, oh, yeah, of course you could do that. You could do that. You could do that.
Right.
But it's not really inaccurate because the
Well,
mother is
yeah.
seeing through the lens of love.
Your wife was seeing your higher self,
Hmm.
you know, like how Jesus would see you. But she saw who you truly are.
Can you
She was
imagine
seeing
that?
that. Yeah, I
Imagine
can. I
Buddha's
can.
coming to town tomorrow. Yeah, I could just, it's like, can you imagine living in that time? It's like I would be able to feel that. Yeah, guess what? Jesus Christ is coming to town today. It would just be like, wow, you know.
Yeah,
And then a lot within the books of wisdom and the religions and stuff do point heavily, heavily, heavily towards law of attraction and manifestation. Top
yeah,
of my head, Matthew in the New Testament says, anything you ask for in prayer, believe you have received it, and it will be yours. And there's an order. So you
yeah,
want something, live it. Oh, I
yeah,
am already an author. I am already an artist. I am already these things and so forth. And then it just comes in and happens. I mean, we met on social media. That's usually a very shallow media. People just want to go on there and putting up pictures of their body and what they got and stuff like that. But
yeah. But
for me,
I don't. It is, but I don't. I feel like I have curated. Like I enjoy what shows up in my feed. I
mhm.
enjoy the posts I see. Your posts are incredible, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
They're so thoughtful and yeah, and vulnerable and funny and yeah, you're contributing. You know what I mean? You're actually like nourishing Facebook and those fortunate enough to have connected with you and get to read them, that's uplifting, right? So I feel like I want to do that part too. It's all what we choose to share, what we choose to select, what we choose to focus on. It actually is a reflection of our own reality. I never see political stuff. I never see hating stuff, whatever. Maybe, I don't know, once in a blue moon, but that doesn't interest me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'm looking at the stuff and the people that interest me. For the most part, I enjoy it. For the most part, it's a great experience. Of course, everything has to be in balance and whatever. But yeah, like you, I've met incredible people on there, amazing people, you know? So it's just another tool, right? There's another tool if we want to use it for a good way and to connect and all this. It's however you want to use it. And again, pay attention to what you want to pay attention to and let
Yeah.
everybody else be. I don't care. I'm not out to, I don't care. Care. I
Well,
don't have time.
I noticed before I found recovery, before I started getting healed, before I started practicing, faith, law of attraction, and so on and so forth, in a spiritual regimen, I would notice all those things. Everyone's fighting and whatnot and so on. And then as I stopped putting my attention towards it, stopped happening.
Exactly. Like
Somebody
with your son.
Yeah, well, I had like one guy say something about how I was very prideful and have no humility and something else. My answer was to him, okay, well that's fine. You see it that way. Thank you for seeing what you see. I don't think
Y-
it is, so I don't give much credence to it, nor did I get upset about it either. I'm just like, oh well, but
okay,
it didn't cause a fight.
of course not. Okay, so sometimes something will happen. I posted something I remember last year, and some guy was saying, "Why do you only paint women nudity?" Blah, blah, blah. I could have attacked him, and somebody said something about like whatever. It doesn't matter. But I actually used it to uh, ask him questions and let him know, have you seen all my work? Because that statement isn't accurate. You're taking one thing you've seen, you don't know me, you don't know what I've created, and you have created some form of truth for yourself that's false, you know? But I actually made a friend in that person, you know? Sometimes that happens, you know, you can your knee jerk reaction could be like, oh, what an asshole, you know, like you know, be butthurt and everything. But then you're like, wait a minute, this can be a good opportunity, you know. And for more often than not, it is, and
Hmm.
it ends up both of us are in a better place, you know.
Well, there's
So
some very
always what is
simple
shown to us,
simple techniques too. Like one of the chapters in my new book is on communication, but very good, improving your communication with others and so on and so forth. And social media can be a big part of people's lives and fighting all day ruins their whole day because they're having a social media fight or whatever. I'm like, when someone says something on your post that you completely diametrically disbelieve and are opposed to and everything like that. If you want them to listen to your point of view, the first statement after they are an idiot and say all that should be, wow, you've made some really good points and made me look at a different side of that. That instantly disarms the other person. Oh, okay. They
right?
looked at what I had to say, they valued me, and so forth. And
Right.
now it opens the door to a better discourse, a better communication, and so forth.
Yeah.
Whereas, my first thing is you're a friggin' idiot. You don't know anything, and that would have been my lifeline,
Right.
call them names and disparage them. And
Right. Yeah. Sometimes that's fun.
yeah, well, no, I've gotten really creative with my spitefulness, like
Uh-huh.
Larry's Spite Coffee Shop.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have actually, gotten creative with that. Like, one of my go-tos used to be, when somebody was making an argument about something that I thought was completely erroneous and I didn't care about or whatever. After they typed a whole paragraph in, as a retort to whatever I was saying, I would say, "Wow, you've really, can you expound on that further?" And so they write me another two or three paragraphs. By the end, they had written 10,000 words on their point of view, and then I'd go, yeah, but I'm just a dumb Neanderthal. I didn't read anything you wrote. Oh my God.
Right. Oh my
I should have
God.
wore a bulletproof vest after that. I've learned to calm my spite down.
Yeah, but it's all
But it was fun
entertaining.
for
You
me.
know what I
It was
mean?
entertaining.
It is so entertaining. And that's the thing, when your ego gets in the way, I guess, you know, or you have those knee-jerk reactions or if you actually like realize what's going on, it's hilarious. Like it's all, I don't know, it's all entertainment, I think.
What's coming up for you? I don't think we hit any of the question. I guess some of
Oh
them.
no, but
But
hey,
what is coming up for you?
I,
Any
I
shows?
I'm having fun with my shirts. So everything we're talking about, when I was younger, I would write these things on subscribe to the universe on post-it notes, and born again creative, you
Nice.
know, tongue in cheek against religion. So whatever. And another favorite one of mine, because these are all valid of points of what we've been talking about. This is my favorite saying. My internal metronome is set to joy, motherfucker. So it's just fun. It was a diversion from painting because it was just words. Now I'm doing stuff with images, but it was playful. It was fun. It actually, in the beginning, made me start trying new things. I went back to dancing, started to do that. I know, like, if I'm not into it, I'm not into it. I don't
Do
need to be
we,
doing
is
it.
that one of the links you sent me so I can put that in
Yeah,
the
it is
description?
cryptic
Great.
teas,
All right.
crypticteas.com.
Oh,
Cryptic
fantastic.
teas, people. I'm a
Fantastic.
born again creative. So I don't know what's coming up, like specifically. I was asked to do a bunch of stuff. We'll see what I do. Um, I want to just keep exploring and
Carrie, I love talking to you. I don't even know if we covered any of the questions in here, but we're going over an hour and
are you serious?
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I could
sorry.
talk to you
Yeah,
forever too.
we could talk forever and I want to do another show. I want to keep up with you and what's going on, your art and with your life and
Yeah,
so on and so forth. So
Paul.
let's keep this going.
Yeah, I am so I don't know. Uh, the way that this all unfolded, it couldn't have been more perfect. Like literally, how you kicked off the whole thing with comedians and uh, political correctness and all these things were literally just roaming in my head. That's like, do you know who Bashar is?
No.
Do you know Bashar?
Mm-mm.
Okay, this is for another time, but it's called telepathy. It's not telepathy what people have. Nobody's reading anybody's mind. It's actually you're having the same thought at the same time. So like the physics of that. That's when you call your friend at the same time, or you think of your friend, they call blah blah blah.
Mm,
Telepathy. Anyway, yeah, we'll get
like
into
that.
Bashar and transurfing real. Oh, there's so much good stuff.
Oh, that happens all the time. Once I started taking notice of those things, they just I mean, and I've read a lot of psychology for research on the books that I'm writing and so on and so forth. Freud says, oh, we're just meaning searching machines. We look for meaning in everything. But to me, it's like, that's a little reductionist of the view that so many of these things just keep occurring when you start noticing them that it can't just be by accident and
No,
so
there's no
forth.
such thing.
No.
Like what's Carl Jung quote on synchronicity? An acausal event of two or more is not a random coincidence,
Mhm.
you know? That, of course not. Like, how did we even connect on Facebook?
Well, I
You must
mean,
have seen my art or something. I don't know.
I saw your art. I liked your art. I appreciated your
Right.
art. I saw the things you were doing, and I don't know. I go with now that I've cleared out a lot of the garbage, the anger and the fear and so on and so forth, my intuition has become far more trustworthy.
Because that's more of
So
who you
yeah,
are. That's
exactly.
more of who
So I
you
just
are.
go with, oh, something I like about that person, and
Hey,
I
me
go
and
with it.
you can, yeah, me and you can sit. I would love to talk more about energy and frequency and like the synchronicity. There, just ah, it's like who we are meant to be, you know. And then when you see it actually, occur throughout your day, if that doesn't give you a boost that your life is more than just what you think it's supposed to be, like conditioned cookie cutters, I don't know what is. The moment you have that realization, you're off and running, you know to different levels and different degrees, different nuances, whatever. But like, yeah, what's possible? What's possible for you? What's next? Things you don't even know of yet that you
I would love to
haven't
work
even
with you.
contemplated or been downloaded to you.
The
Get that
people that the
tinfoil hat
people I
on.
connect with, I would just love to work with them.
Right.
My plans for the next 5 years or so are to open something similar to a business called 40 Years of Zen in the Bay Area, where
Yeah, you
people
told me
come,
about this.
yeah, and they come, they say detox a little from their their electronics, from their fast-paced life. They do some meditation, they do some art, they do some ritual, they do maybe some plant medicine, some focused shadow work and stuff on psychology. But I think that, it all fits together. I mean, some of Carl Jung's greatest conflicts were abreacted, they were fixed, they boiled to the surface because he was just out doing something with his hands. He was making his stone tower in his yard or whatever. And he actually did that. He built a stone tower, he quarried the rock, and he just liked to build things and stuff like that. And some kind of problem, whatever was happening, it would seem like a major life event, and then he would go into daydream, or he would do some artwork, or he'd make a sand castle or something, and he called it transcendent function. And after, at the end, he was not focusing on the problem. He wasn't trying to fix it. He wasn't doing anything. He just zenned out and did some building, or made a sand castle or whatever. And suddenly the problem's not a problem anymore. It's put into
Yeah,
perspective. It's
right,
okay. This isn't going to kill anyone. This isn't going to kill me.
right.
What it is, but he'd understand it. And so these early psychologists and psychiatrists, one thing that the majority of them have in common when they were theorizing was that they had mental illness and they healed it. They were like, oh, okay, this works for it. I know it works because I did it and I feel better.
Hmm.
So they could actually have more of an authority on things, because we will listen to someone who is like, oh, well, he was psychotic and he's not anymore. Let's listen to
Right,
what he's got to say about this. you know.
right.
But this has been, I'm enamored. This has been, enlightening, having our discourse, having our talk. And thank you so much
Yeah, thank you for
for being
having
on
me.
this show, and push it, because not a lot of followers on here. I know that's coming though, because the content is great. I've had some great people on here. I've had you on here. I've had Michael Cartwright from
Yeah,
co-founder Fiction
but just you
Center, and so
alone
forth.
have so much you're offering, just you.
It's fun.
So even if you had
It's
your own
fun.
show,
It intrinsically makes me happy to do this.
yeah, I could tell. That's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, I just
Yeah,
tell
this was
people, I was
fun.
like,
I
find something you like and make that into your job.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Find what you like and make that into your job somehow.
Yeah. But if it's meant for you, it will be. If you take enough action towards it, it's illogical that it wouldn't work. If it's meant for you truly, I believe, well, okay, there's a lot of, again, nuances to that and whatever, but for the most part, go for it. That's it. All right.
All right. I'm going to stop recording now. Thank you so much, Carrie. I'm not
Okay.
going to hang up with you, though. I'm just going to stop.
Okay, good. Because I just